I am excited to be joined by someone who is the current 365 Pro Wrestling Global Women's Champion, current Love Pro Wrestling Scramble Champion, seen coast to coast across Canadian wrestling promotions, as well as on All Elite Wrestling TV tapings for Rampage. I'm joined by Rose. Rose, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, I told a few of my friends that I was going to be interviewing you. They've seen you live a couple of times along with myself. And the one question everyone said is you have to ask her, why does she wrestle barefoot?
That's always the question, isn't it? So my background is kickboxing. Before I did wrestling, that's the only sport I've ever really done. So I've always been comfortable training without shoes. And when I started wrestling, I tried with shoes on for the first few practice, and I always found that I couldn't really get my footings right with shoes. I'm really clumsy, so I feel like with shoes, I always find a way to like twist my ankles. And I also started doing a few like rope stuff, walking on the ropes and stuff, and I've always found that I have more grip, obviously when I'm barefoot. So yeah, just more comfortable without shoes.
Perfect. The problem has been solved for us. I'm glad to hear that. So you did a little bit of kickboxing. Was that before or after wrestling?
I mean, I'm still kickboxing.
Okay.
I started maybe a year before doing wrestling,
Okay. Perfect.
and currently still kickboxing.
Cool. Okay, so talk to us a little bit about your journey into wrestling and what your training has been like.
Sure. It started, I want to say 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, maybe. I moved to Victoria from Edmonton, and one of my friend Braden Goss, he told me that Eddie Osborne was reopening PWA in Victoria, and I've always wanted to do wrestling, so I kind of just took the jump and I started wrestling. I sent a message to Eddie, and I remember the first day that I showed up there, it was at a mall, and I remember walking in the hallways and hearing the thuds of the ring, and I was horrified. Like I was I was so scared. But then I was like, "Okay, take a deep breath." Honestly, almost walked away for real. Like it's so uncomfortable, like doing something so intense that you've never tried before. I opened the door, and here was everyone from 365 and PWA. And the first training day I had, I was actually really impressed with myself. I Yeah, I don't like to say that, but because I've worked really, really hard to get better, but it kind of just came natural to me. So yeah, I freaking loved it and kept on going. I trained with Eddie Osborne for about 2 years. I went to the Lions Gate Dojo a few times in Vancouver, and now I'm currently training with Michael Richard Blais at Clandestine Society in Edmonton, and that's been great. It's been really helping me out. That school is just amazing. MRB has so much knowledge, and I mean Zoe is always there too. So two of like the best in the industry, So it's been great.
You talked about being scared coming into going into wrestling training and not knowing what to expect. Now you're being trained by, three of the best with Eddie, with like, like Nicole and Marty, and then MRB. I was fortunate to have him on the podcast last year as well. So like you've got this well of knowledge surrounding you to get you to where you want to be in the future.
Yeah, I've been really lucky. Yeah, I've trained with Jody Threat as well, and Stu Grayson. So it's been, yeah, it's a lot of learning. That's the most important thing to do in wrestling, is always keep learning and going to different different schools, and learning from different people, because everyone has a different approach with wrestling, and it's just extra knowledge, right? So
Totally. And in I think it's 2024, you released a list of names that were kind of like bucket list items that you wanted to face. You were lucky enough to actually check a few of those names off. Are there a few people, whether on that list or that weren't on that list before, that you're kind of manifesting to get a match with in the future?
I really need to review that list because I'm sure there's a lot of people that I've actually wrestled.
Yeah.
I really want to work Masha. That would be, and now she's like so high up in like in TNA and stuff, so it would be a lot harder. And it's so annoying because she's like my dream match, one of my women dream match. And I at MEW in Montreal, we actually had a match scheduled, but that day there was floods at the New York airport, so she didn't make it. And I was
Oh
like,
no.
it was. I was like, oh my god, I'm having my dream match with freaking Masha, maybe a year and a half into wrestling, but yeah, she couldn't make it. So maybe one day, I hope. But you know what? I told myself I was still really fairly new, and I mean, I still am in my head, but I was like, next time I'll be more prepared, and yeah, it'll be a better match, I guess.
Yeah, you're totally right. It makes you want it that much more, and the fact that you were that close just makes it like that much sweeter for when it does happen one day.
Hmm. It'll happen. It'll happen.
I believe it. I believe it. Just keep telling the world, and it'll happen.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you did some commercials for Herschel Supply where you wrestled a suitcase in an elevator, but you also said that that wasn't the weirdest thing that you've ever done in wrestling. Can you talk about maybe what the weirdest thing in wrestling that you've ever done?
Putting Judas Icarus's foot in my mouth for one.
Yep, that I would say that qualifies for sure.
Yeah, yeah, that's at the top of the list. In my defense, he bit my toe first, so
He deserved it.
karma. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that is too funny. Those commercials were hilarious, by the way. So that was awesome.
Yeah, I love it. I was honestly when I did that, I was a little scared because you don't really have control over what the ad's gonna look like, right? And I'm just this small indie wrestler doing a commercial for such a big company, and I knew a lot of people would see it, right? So I was like, oh my God, I hope this doesn't come out stupid or like that I look stupid or I don't look good or something. And then when they sent it to me, I was like, oh my God, this is so good. Like it's so perfect. They did an amazing job with it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, and the fact you pinned it on your Twitter as the top thing. So you're obviously proud of that work that you did too.
Absolutely. Yeah. It was a hilarious ad.
Yeah. So I was doing some scrolling through your Twitter, and you and I have something in common, and that is one of our biggest wrestling pet peeves is people using the headbutt. I just don't get it. You'd probably knock someone out in real life if you're using a headbutt. So I agree with you on that pet peeve. Is there any other weird wrestling pet peeves that you have?
Let me talk about that a little bit though.
Yeah.
I don't I like headbutts because if it's done a certain way. Because if you look at Muay Thai, headbutts is a thing. Like lots of people use them, and they don't actually get concussed or dazed from it because they do it a certain way. They use their head like where they hit and how they hit.
Okay.
It makes sense. You know what I mean? But it's just most people don't make it look like it. They don't. Yeah, it doesn't make sense most of the time. Like it's
Yeah.
just I think it needs to be properly utilized is what I mean. But like let's say Goose from Love Pro, he does a headbutt, and I think it every time he does it, I think it's great and it's hilarious, and it's just because he's such a goofball, and then he does a headbutt and he doesn't get dazed from it. Sometimes he does actually, sometimes he does, but most times he doesn't get really dazed from it. But it's like he's a goose, like he's so crazy. He's all over the place and it fits with him. So, but most, yeah, it needs to be utilized properly. Um, I'm unfortunately a person with a lot of pet peeves, so I try not to talk too much about it because I don't want to sound negative. But let me think. God, there would be so much. Well, one very obvious one is people who think they know everything. That's like that doesn't work with me. That's crazy. Unless like even the best there is out there doesn't know everything about wrestling. That would be crazy to act like you're top of the chain and like you know everything. Even like MRB, who he's a freaking genius. Have you ever heard him talking about wrestling?
Not in the way that you have, but I've had a brief conversation with him. But
It's crazy. Like I don't understand. He just soaks in everything and he knows everything. Like he's how do you say it? Encyclopedia.
encyclopedia. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm French.
Yeah.
And even him, like he would never act like he knows everything. Sometimes he wrestles people and he's like learning from them still. It's like yeah, that would be my biggest pet peeve.
Perfect. Well, thank you for clearing up the headbutt pet peeve, and also kind of spreading the word that there is always stuff to learn in the wrestling industry as well.
Always.
One video that I came across for you, and I only have a couple more questions for you. Thank you so much for your time today. Is before a match one time, you were wrestling, I believe it was one of your friends, and their parents were in the audience. You, before the match, you stopped everything and you said, "Hey, whatever his name was, his parents are here tonight. I just want to apologize to what I'm going to do to your son in the ring tonight." So that was really funny. Do you have any other like fun promo instances, or do you have any promo inspirations that brought something like that to life?
You bring up really cool stuff, and then I just want to talk about them. Let me
Yeah,
go a little bit in details of that.
of course.
It's that was one of my top 5 favorite matches I've had because it was with Legacy from Victoria area, and um, when we had that match, it was in Ontario, and his parents just so happened to be visiting Ontario at the same time. And he's my best friend, right? Like I know his parents. We have dinner. Sometimes I spent Christmas with them. So yeah, I was like, oh yeah, I have to apologize to them because I'm gonna beat the hell out of you, and I'm sure your mom won't like it. Yeah, that was a really good promo. Okay, you asked for a funny one or just one that
Just
stuck with
any
me?
memorable one that you have. Yeah.
I guess every promo that I do for 365, this one time when I did my promo about because I got a really bad concussion, I was out for a year, and I had the global women's championship belt, and I had to relinquish it. That was very emotional for me because obviously I didn't know when I was going to come back, and 365 has been so good to me. Like that crowd is just family, And when I did the in-ring promo to tell them that I was taking a step back for a little bit, it was like they were so amazing and super supportive, and literally almost shed some tears in the ring. It was it's crazy. It was a really good feel good moment, really.
And you knew that the fans were going to miss you, right? Based off
Yeah,
the emotions you were receiving
I
back.
felt the love. I felt the love. Yeah.
And how has it been being back in the ring?
Um, Ups and downs. It was when I came back, it was really hard. Really, really hard. I was wondering if I could ever like actually get back to where I was. Um, it was like almost embarrassing, But I mean, I was my friends from clandestine society. They were super, very supportive, and they know that I'm hurt, so we took it easy. Michael made sure that whenever I was there, like he so good at working with people, with everyone to make sure that they get everything they need from a training. So he was finding ways to include me doing things that was not too intense for me and stuff. And I had to take a lot of breaks, and then I couldn't show up like every day of the week. It was I still can't really because my neck is still messed up, but I'm working on it. But I'm getting better. Like every match I have, I can feel that Rose is getting back. So, but yeah,
Um,
ups and downs. I still get migraines and vertigo, so
uh,
I gotta be careful.
yeah, it's concussions are a scary thing. So honestly, kudos for you for coming back and doing what you're doing in the ring, and holding some gold while coming back as well.
For sure. Yeah, I'm taking it. And that's the thing, like now everyone saw that I was back, so I get messages and they're like, "When are you coming here? Can you come for our show and stuff?" And I'm like, God, I wish I could say yes, but I know I need to take it easy. And so right now I'm focusing on 365 and the Love Pro, but yeah, it's annoying because I want to get back to where I was, but I know I can't. I know I can't. So I'm not taking too much bookings, and I'm going easy and focusing on training and stuff.
This has been fantastic, Rose. I'll give you the floor for the last moment here if you have anything else to plug.
Not really. Just stick with me. I know I'm not wrestling that much, but it's still my passion, and I'm gonna get back at it full time at some point. So thanks for sticking with me, my fans. It means a lot.